It's very important that I really address this because you realize that the people that you don't know, they support you more. I wanted to add people that don't really know you. You realize you can create a first impression with those people because it's kind of like a fresh start. You might have this thought that when you post content that you're spamming your videos, that you're posting too much, but you only have those thoughts when you think people are actually judging you. And I wanted to add, when it comes to content in general, you're just sharing your ideas, you're trying to help people out, and rather than thinking that you're posting too much, think about the people that you can actually help. And when you're consistent, you start to see results, you start to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And I wanted to say, when you're so consistent, you start to have a routine, you start to get into a flow. And I wanted to say the reason why I'm doing this video is because you need to have two accounts when you're on social media. One that's like a private account, where you have people that you know, and another one which is a public account. You have to understand, once you have a public account, you realize that you no longer have privacy. You have to understand, once you have a public account, you can no longer be private because people have already seen your posts. And I just wanted to say, for example, when you do your posts, people comment things, you have to realize people are going to comment if they really like your content. You have to think about it, people don't really just follow anyone, and you have to pay attention to really your followers, but also don't really get fake followers as well. Because I used to do this where I get fake followers, I used to get fake likes. Let's say, for example, people ask you a question, do you know your followers at all? And that's really important because you need to know their age, you need to know their likes and dislikes, you need to know if they're male, if they're female, and what is it that you're saying that's really attracting males or females. And I wanted to say, when it comes to really your followers, you have to understand that you can't fake it. Because let's say someone asks you a question, do you really know your followers? And then you say no. You realize that you're going to have to change your content all over again. Because let's say I do content on football, but I don't even know anything about football, because I'm doing that to target guys. So rather than just targeting guys with football, I need to focus on self-improvement because that can apply to females and really males. You have to realize, by having two social media accounts, let's say for example that you don't know your followers, all your followers are in a different country, they speak a different language, and you speak English like myself, you realize that that's already a language barrier. And that's why when you post content on social media, you have to post videos of you speaking, and you have to post videos of you not speaking. Because when you post videos of you not speaking and you add music, you realize that people will most likely understand it, no matter what language or country they're from. And when it comes to your speaking content, you need to speak slowly, you need to hear what you're saying, you need to even think about what you're saying before you actually say it and post it. People can take what you're saying out of context, and you don't want it to be that when people take things out of context, you can no longer defend yourself. And that's why you have to be careful what you're messaging people as well. Not that this will happen, but let's say for example that one of your followers, because you don't post the content they like, they try and do everything they can to ruin your reputation. They keep screenshots of text messages, you send explicit text messages, and then what happens, you realize that you can't just trust anyone. So that's why when it comes to your followers and it comes to people that message you, you have to be careful of what you're really messaging people. And obviously you're trying to build trust, you're trying to build a connection. You don't want it to be that people are only following you because you look good, that people only follow you because you have money. You have to understand, by keeping followers, it's because you're real, but then also you're showing people what you're doing well, you're showing people your struggles, and you're even talking about it as well. Because, for example, by me doing social media, I make mistakes, but when it comes to my mistakes, I can humbly admit it if I do make a mistake. And if I recall correctly, I've done 2 mistakes on my social media page. Because what happened, I used to do approach videos where I would approach women. It's not something that I'm an expert on, so that's why I don't do that too much. For example, if I say that dad bods are not attractive, some people are going to take that the wrong way if they do have dad bods and they can't do anything about that. It's because what I should have done in that video in my short form content is to give people solutions. When it comes to content, you can't just persuade people to stick to your point of view because everyone has different opinions. Rather than persuading people and forcing people to do what you want, you have to give people a problem, which they may have, but then you offer a solution. And when you offer a solution, you want it to be that you give people one or two solutions so that people, they can make a decision quickly and they don't feel the pressure of just sticking to one solution. I wanted to say, this is me in the morning. I have no microphone. I haven't even creamed my face. All I did was just really do my hair because I just wanted to get my lunch. So that's why I'm just going to go out of my house, get a lunch quickly once I've done with this video. So that's why I need to wrap it up. When it comes to content, you need to have two separate accounts through TikTok, through Instagram, through Snapchat if you use it. But then also you need to know the reason behind social media apps because you're trying to build connections, you're trying to communicate with people. And when it comes to Snapchat, people are more likely to send you pictures. And when I mean pictures, it's because you're not really going to text people. People on Snapchat, they're going to do voice messages. But when it comes to Instagram, people are going to be more professional. You realize that you have a list of photos that you're really posting, but then also you present yourself in a professional way. But then when it comes to TikTok, you're going to realize that some people that follow you on TikTok will not follow you on Instagram. Some people on TikTok will not follow you on YouTube because that's longer form content. But then when it comes to really Instagram and YouTube, you realize that Instagram is similar to TikTok, but people are more likely to respond to comment sections because people that do comment on Instagram, it's because once you've seen it, you have to respond to it. But when it comes to TikTok, you never know what's going to be in the comment sections. No one will really judge you for it because if you do long form content, you realize that you get to express your thoughts. You realize that people have a lot more attention because they're clicking your video, no matter if it's 5 minutes, no matter if it's 10 minutes. But then I'm also going to add as well, because by me doing videos on YouTube consistently for the past 3 to 4 years now, I started on YouTube before I went to Instagram and TikTok when it comes to posting content. For example, if you focus on your weaknesses and someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, you realize you're not really helping people, but you're also wasting your time. And I do get it, you get to learn new things, but you have to realize that if it's not your expertise, if it's not within your expertise, you realize it's better for someone else to do it. But then also you need to think about it. Do you like the content you're doing? What is it that you can do better? What I wanted to say in terms of social media is about your presentation, but then also it's really about what you say. Because I don't want people to just follow me because of my looks, but I want it to be that I leave a message towards each video. When other people are with you, they can give you ideas, they can give you feedback, and you can grow with other people. Because it's better to grow with other people than to grow on your own. You have to understand, not everyone wants to see you win, and not everyone wants to watch your videos. And you have to understand that you have to do videos no matter what people think, no matter what people say. And your environment plays a huge role because if no one does content in your area, you're going to have to be the first one to show people of how it's done. I'm going to say this video, it is all over the place. And I normally have my best thoughts in the morning, so that's why I choose to do it in the morning. And it's only because I have free time in the morning because I choose to wake up early. And that's another thing when it comes to being consistent. You need to have a schedule, you need to stick to the schedule. So the main thing I want you to take away from this video, you need to think about why are you doing content, what is it about, and who's your target audience. And the thing is, when it comes to content, you have to understand you need to make a point and to not just talk forever. Because the thing is, you have to realize that if you keep talking to the point that you don't have anything else to say, you realize that people can sense that. And then also you're not carrying yourself in the best way possible. When I ask you this question, do you have a life outside of social media? It's because there's things that you need to do and there's things that you like to do. So there's things you like to do, there's people you hang out with. You don't know how many followers you actually have until you see it in real life. Because for example, people say that 100 followers is not a lot, But then when you know 100 people standing right in front of you, you realize that that is a lot. You need to put things into perspective, because when it comes to social media, it helps you to be discovered, it helps you to improve your communication skills, and you realize it's better to have some online presence than no online presence. Because you wouldn't want it to be that you have a conversation with a girl, for example, and I'm speaking from a guy's perspective. So for example, you're talking to a girl, it goes well, they don't give you their number because they don't just trust anyone with their phone number. And some people just do prank calls, some people are unknown callers. But when they actually see your social media and they see that you post, you realize they're more likely to go on a date with you, they're more likely to get to know you more. Because what happens, you have that online presence and you have posts to really show that you are a real person. You also need a life outside of social media where you can actually meet people in person, and you realize that it's not just about social media all the time. Because the thing is, even though people do social media, they don't want to talk about it all the time. They want to talk about themselves and what they like to do besides from social media. And you have to also realize that when it comes to social media, even though you have a life outside of it, you need to have a balance where you're consistent, because you wouldn't want it to be that you have no life in real life and you have nothing to really document, because you don't take photos, you don't take videos. And the thing is, some people find it silly where you're taking photos of really food. If you're taking photos of food and you're taking photos of yourself, you realize that you're really showing what your life is really about. And it's not shallow, it's not selfish. You realize that we only have one life to live, and if you have no online presence, it's not always for other people, but it's also for yourself, because you want to look back at it. You want to see if you made any progress, you want to see if you changed for the better. And you realize social media is what you make it out to be. And the life that you have in real life, it really depends on how you look at things as well. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon.